So we have discussed about the three methods of handling the deadlocks. The first one is ensure that the system will never enter to a deadlock state. It is prevention. Then allow the system to enter a deadlock state and then recover. It is avoidance. The third one is ignore. Ignore the problem and pretend that deadlock never occurs in the system, used by most of the operating systems, including Unix. So these are the three methods we discussed. Uh, to discuss with the first method, deadlock prevention. As we have discussed the characteristics of deadlock, there are four characteristics: mutual exclusion, hold and wait, preemption, and circular queue. I mean, circular wait. So we need to avoid all these things so that we can prevent the deadlock. Prevention is better than cure, like that. So the system itself will not allow the, the processes to enter the deadlock. Like that, we have to design the system. First point is mutual exclusion. So mutual exclusion is not required for the shareable resources like read-only files, and must hold for the non-shareable resources like printer. So this is the first point. Second point is hold and wait. So it must guarantee that whenever a process requests a resource, it does not hold any other resources. Means that it should not hold any other resource and request for another one. So the to do this one, require process must request and be allocated all its resources before it begins the execution. Otherwise, allow process to request resources only when the process has none. If process is not having anything, then only we have to allocate all the resources, or another way, it should not be allocated. The process require require process to request and be allocated all its resources before its execution, before beginning of the execution. The problem with this is low resource utilization. Means that resources are not utilized efficiently. It may be a problem, and starvation may possible, because when a process is requesting and it may not get all its resources at a time, so that may lead to a starvation of that process. The third option is no preemption. If a process that is holding some resources requests another resource and cannot be immediately allocated to it, then all its currently being held resources are released, which means that if it is not possible to allocate a new resource for a process, then if it is holding any other resources, that must be released immediately. Preempted resources are added to the list of resources for which the process is waiting, and process will be restarted only when it can regain its old resources as well as the new one that is required for its execution. So like this, no preemption option is implemented to prevent this. Circular wait circular wait in the sense, uh, here it may lead to deadlock, but here we are imposing a total ordering in the sense, the resources must be allocated in the increasing order of its enumeration. Every resources will be given some number, and it must be in the increasing order. They are allocated. So impose a total ordering of all resource types and require that each process requests resources in the increasing order of enumeration. Every process must request the resources in the increasing order. So these are the 4 points that must be uh, imposed or that must be included in the system to prevent a deadlock. This is one method, deadlock prevention. The next is deadlock avoidance. The deadlock avoidance has, it requires that the system has some additional a priori information available, which means that what are the processes executing and what are all the resources they require and what are the resources they are already having. That type of information must be a prior information must be available. uh, Here the first point, if you look into it, simplest and most useful model requires that each process declare the maximum number of resources of each type that it may need. So say for example, if there are three resource types available in the system and a process uh, P0, let us take process P0 is executing, then it must request what are the maximum number of resources that it may require of all the three types of resources. The second point, the deadlock avoidance algorithm dynamically examines the resource allocation state to ensure that there can never be circular wait condition. This is very important point. So every time at a particular interval of time, so deadlock avoidance algorithm will be examining the resource allocation state. So what are all the processes executing and what are the resources allocated for them, and it will also ensure that there can never be a circular wait condition, means that there can never be a deadlock also. Resource allocation state is defined by the number of available and allocated resources and the maximum demand of the process and maximum demand of the process. So like this it can be done. So resource allocation uh, state means there are two states, safe state and unsafe state. When process requests a available resource, system must decide if immediate allocation leaves the system in a safe state, which means that any process which is executing, if it requests a resource and system if it immediately allocates, then it may lead to safe state only. System is in safe state if there exists a safe sequence of processes, means the safe sequence in the sense they must execute without any deadlock. Sequences like P1, P2, P3 up to Pn is safe if the each process Pi, the resource that Pi can still request can be satisfied by the currently available resources plus resources held by all the other processes Pj with j less than I. That is, if Pi resource needs are not immediately available, then Pi can wait until the Pj has finished, which means that previous process has to finish. Until that, Pi need to be wait, because Pi request cannot be immediately available. When Pj is finished, Pi can obtain needed resources, execute, return allocated resources and terminate. So when Pi can be executed, when Pj finishes, and when Pj finishes, uh, it releases the resources, and those released resources, if Pi can be executed with those resources, then it is executed and returning all resources. When Pi terminates, Pj plus 1 can obtain the needed resources and so on. So like this sequence is called as safe sequence, which means that all the process must be executed. They should not enter into a situation called as deadlock. So to discuss with this, Let us look into this diagram. There is a safe state, unsafe state, and deadlock state. If the system is in safe state, system if it is in safe state or the processes are all in the safe state, you may not get any deadlock. So it should ensure that system is in safe state. If it is in unsafe state, there is a possibility of deadlock. There is a possibility of deadlock. So that possibility must be understood, and it should not allow system should not allow the processes to continue their execution or continue their requests. Okay. uh, the points are like this. The first point: if a system is in safe state, no deadlocks. If a system is in unsafe state, possibility of deadlock. The third point says that avoidance: ensure that a system will never enter into a unsafe state, always be in the safe state, or your algorithm, whatever you are the next we are discussing, must ensure that the system of processes must be in the safe state. Let us look into the algorithms. There are two algorithms. The first one is single instance of resources. If we have that, algorithm is called as resource allocation graph algorithm. By making use of resource allocation graph, we can s- uh, uh, perform the avoidance of the deadlock when we have only single instance of resources. If we have multiple instances of resources types, we use Banker's algorithm. So Banker's algorithm is like a uh, banking system. How it works: if the resources are available, they are immediately allocated. If the resources are not available, then they must wait until we get some resources. Means that if a cash is available in the bank, then any request for the cash by a customer, it is allocated immediately. If cash is not available, then a customer has to wait until they get some cash by other transactions, like that. First algorithm, resource allocation graph. So resource allocation graph consists of three types of edges. One is a claim edge from process to resource, indicating that the process may request the resource are represented by a dashed line. It is called as claim edge. Dashed line are called as claim edge. Claim edge is get converted to a request edge when a process requests a resource. It is a solid line. Request is converted to assignment edge. Third edge is called as assignment edge when resource is allocated to the process. So it is a reverse one. R to P process. When a resource is released by a process, assignment edge converted again to a claim edge. It's a again converted to claim edge when it is released. Resource must be claimed a priori in the system. Resource must be claimed a priorly in the system. Let us look into one example here. The process 1 and process 2, resource 1 and resource 2. Process 1 is holding the resource 1 and claiming the resource 2. Process 2 is claiming resource 2 and requesting request edge. I mean P2 to R1 is a request edge. It is requesting already. So P1 may claim R2, P2 may claim R2 in future, but right now P2 is requesting R1 and P1 is holding R1. Now you just observe, if the R2 is allocated to P2, if the R2 is allocated to P2, what will happen is the P1 is claiming R2 and holding R1. P2 is holding R2 and requesting R1. So with this graph, what we can observe is it is forming a cycle. It may enter into a unsafe state. Now it is not in unsafe state, but it may enter into a unsafe state. So any request from the P1 to R2 should not be allocated immediately. It has to wait until the execution. Or now we can observe here that the cycle may occur and deadlock may occur. So this is how the algorithm works, resource allocation graph algorithm. So this is the simplest algorithm when we have only single instances of resources. So claim edge, uh, request edge, and allocation edge. With these three edges, so uh, we are examining whether the cycle is occurring or not. If it may form cycle, then it should avoid that. It should avoid the allocation of the resource. So now the allocation resource allocation graph algorithm looks in this way. In 2 points we can put, suppose that process pi requests a resource rj. Process P requests RJ, the request can be granted only if converting the request edge to assignment edge does not result in the formation of cycle, in the formation of cycle in the resource allocation graph. So it should not form any cycle, as we already discussed in the previous slide. These 2 points are the resource allocation graph algorithm, and the previous examples, previous diagrammic examples are to discuss about the edges, and this is a scenario where it may lead to deadlock, and this is the algorithm. Now let us come to Banker's algorithm. It's a deadlock avoidance algorithm, it is also called as. So it is for the multiple instances. Each process must a priori claim maximum use. When a process requests a resource, it may have to wait. When a process requests a resource, it may have to wait. When a process gets all its resources, it must return them in the finite amount of time after its usage. So these are the few points related to Banker's algorithm. So Banker's algorithm is having or making use of four important data structures uh, as follows in this slide. So here n indicates that number of processes, m indicates that number of resource types, number of resource types. The data structures available are, the first one, it's a vector available. Second one, max, it is a matrix. Third one, allocation, it is a matrix. Last one, need, it is also a matrix. Available is a vector of length m, means that number of resources. For each number of resources, each type of resources, uh, the number of available instances are stored in this available. So if available of j equal to k, which says that resource type rj is available k instances, k instances are available. Next, max, it is a matrix, n cross m, means number of processes and number of resources matrix. If max of ij equal to k, which means that for the process I and a resource j, if it is equal to k, then pi may request at most, means maximum, k instances of resource type rj. Allocation, n cross m matrix, it is a resource allocated matrix. So here, if a process, I mean allocation of ij equal to k, then process is currently allocated k instances of rj. Pi process is allocated k instances of rj, already allocated. Next it may request some other also, so it is indicated here, the allocation matrix in the beside. The need matrix, it is also n cross m matrix. If need of ij equal to k, then pi may request, pi may need k more instances of rj to complete its task. To calculate need, so we make use of a formula, need of ij equal to its maximum request and already allocated minus allocated, means need equal to max minus allocation. The maximum request by the process I of resource type j minus already allocated for the process I of resource type j, which gives the need of a process I of resource type j. So this is Banker's algorithm data structures. The algorithm goes in this way. It is a simple algorithm. So first algorithm here is safety algorithm. Find whether the system is in safe state or not. So it goes in this way. Let work and finish be the vectors of length m and n. M indicates that here number of resources, and n indicates that the number of processes. So first work is assigned with available. I mean available resources are all allocated to work. Initially finish of I means all the process are not yet completed, like that. Finish of I equal to false is made for all the processes. I can take the value 1, 2, 3 up to n. All the n processes are not executed. This is the first initialization step. Second one, step find I such that, I mean find a process such that finish of I equal to false. It is not yet finished, and need, its need must be less than or equal to work, I mean available resources. Need of process must be less than or equal to available. If that is existing, so you put that into a sequence, I mean safe sequence. Otherwise, if no such I exists, then go to step 4, that if finish of I mean all, for all the processes, if the finish of I is true, means all the process have been executed, then the system is in safe state. And just look at the second point, I mean second step of the algorithm. If there exists a finish of I equal to false and need of I is less than or equal to work, then work recalculated, work is I mean that process is executed, I process is executed. So whatever the allocated resources for them must be recollected. Work equal to work plus allocation, work plus allocation. Then finish of I you make it true, then go to step 2. So step 2 and step 3 are repeatedly executed, and if no process need to be executed further, means that all are finished, then it comes to the step 4, or if need of I is not at all possible to fulfill by the available resources, then also it comes to the step 4. So if all the processes are executed, then it is in a safe state. If all process cannot be executed, means that need of I is not at all possible by the available work, then it is in a unsafe state. So that is the one point. Second algorithm, that is one algorithm to check that whether the system is in safe state or unsafe state. The second algorithm is process resource request algorithm of process pi. Means that when it is in a safe state, the system is in a safe state, then it is, then there is a possibility that one process may request for a resource, additional resource. Then system has to check that if the resource is allocated, then whether it may lead to a safe state or unsafe state. If it may lead to a safe state, then it is immediately allocated. If resource request not leading to a safe state, then it is denied, allocation is denied. It goes in this way. Request means request is equal to request vector of process pi. If request I mean process pi of type j is equal to k, then pi wants k instances of resource type rj. Look into the first point of the algorithm. If request of I is less than need of I, then go to step 2. Otherwise, raise error condition since process has exceeded its maximum claim. So it is very simple. It should not request more than the need. And step 2, when you come to the step 2, request of I is less than or equal to available, then go to step 3. Otherwise, pi must wait since resource is not available. So request of I must be less than available. Third one, third point, pretend to allocate requested resources to pi by modifying the state as follows. So available is equal to available minus request. So remove the available and allocate that to a request. Then allocation of I is equal to allocation of I minus allocation of I plus request. So you add that to allocation, pretend that it is allocated. The request is allocated. Pretend that the request is allocated from the available resources. Then recalculate the need. Recalculate the need. So I mean that process need is to be recalculated. Need of I equal to need of I minus request. So even then the previous algorithm must be executed again. This algorithm must be executed again to check whether it is in a safe state or unsafe state. If it is in a safe state, then immediately the request may be granted. If it leads to unsafe state, then pi must wait and with the old resources. Pi must wait with the old resources. This is what the algorithm. There are two algorithms. One is safety algorithm and another one is resource request algorithm for a process pi. For this, we are making use of these four data structures: available, max, allocation, and need. So with these algorithms, we are executing some uh, bankers algorithm. It is called as total bankers algorithm. Uh, we will look into one example now. So example will be like this. So don't look into this. I will show one more.